Hi, I'm Hridya Raj. I'm an international host ambassador for Kochi, which is Color of Crohn's and Chronic Illness. Now, the Equity and IBD Patient Symposium is coming up next month in July. And there are so many reasons to attend the symposium, whether you're a patient, a care partner, a medical professional, or you're in pharmaceuticals. As someone who had been diagnosed for more than 10 years at the time that I first attended virtually, it's safe to say that there was so much that I didn't know about ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. My mother has Crohn's, I have UC, but despite having been diagnosed for so long, there was a world of information out there that I didn't know was available, or, well, it wasn't directly accessible to me. After that symposium, I realized how much more there was out there. Not just in terms of information, but also in terms of support. Now, aside from what you can gain, which is a lot, I want to tell you a little bit about being a patient advocate, being someone that advocates for not just myself, but others, and how I benefited from being an ambassador. A few years ago, well, a few years too, I had been speaking to a bunch of different patient advocacy groups over on Instagram, and I got contacted by a woman by the name of Dawn. She told me that the ladies over at Chronically Brown told her that I was with Kochi, and I always tried to create awareness around patient experiences. So she asked me, would I be open to doing something for fibromyalgia awareness? A couple of reasons as to why I agreed. One, wherever there's the option and I have the ability to help, I want to do it. Two, I have an aunt that has been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And three, I want to use my voice to do something good. So I said yes. And while preparing for this, I didn't have to actually do much, but I wanted to get a bit of research done to understand better about fibro. And then things started adding up to me. So the next time my mother went to see her primary healthcare provider, I went to the doctor with a list of symptoms, and I said, I think my mother has fibromyalgia. And she went down the list. My mother got a diagnosis, and she was started on treatment. That, for me, I could really see how being a host ambassador, being an ambassador, being a part of Kochi, and really advocating in a personal space made a big difference. I mean, it goes without saying, Kochi has been doing phenomenal things on a larger scale. Universities are now making accommodations for students with disabilities because Kochi members went through and spoke for what the student would need. They have gone all the way to Washington to advocate for amendments to bills to ensure that the legislation works for the patients, that patients' voices are heard. But this was the first time that I could see it in my own life, more than just the digital space. Then I started noticing that the symptoms that I had highlighted about my mother, I was experiencing a lot of that myself. And I went to the same doctor and I spoke to her, and I got nowhere. She said that I had a vitamin D deficiency. And so months went by, I'm still in pain, I'm still experiencing these symptoms. And by this time, my mother is seeing a rheumatologist for lupus. So I asked them, do I need to have a referral letter? Because my primary healthcare provider is not really on board with this. And I self-referred myself to a rheumatologist. So much so that when I went in there and I was asked, who referred you? I said, I did. So I went in with my list of symptoms. I was examined by the rheumatologist. I got my diagnosis. I started with treatment. I could, for myself, see that had I not been attending these monthly meetings, had I not been viewing the infographics on Facebook and Instagram, had I not been a part of the Facebook group where not just the care partners and the patients and the family members of those who are going through an IBD experience, but a GI experience, that all taught me how to go about doing this in my own life. So it's not just about what you can do to help others, but also what you can do to help yourself. And it also tells you that this is something that is possible. You can learn, you can make a difference. You can do all of these things that seem so far-fetched. That suffering does not have to be at that same level all of the time, going forward and for everybody. And so if you have the opportunity, get yourself to the symposium. It's no longer just equity in IBD, it's now equity in GI. And that means we're talking people who've had cancer affecting their digestive tract. Perhaps you have endometriosis and it's rectovaginal. Perhaps, well, GI is a really large area, so you get the picture. If you can't attend in person, register, attend virtually, because there is so much to learn, so much to share, and so much of support available. I'm Riddhi Raj, and I am so happy that I'm an international host ambassador for Kochi.